Hayden Patton was in super form at Whangarei on day one with a record-breaking run through the stages. But the real story was the battle for the championship lead. Dean Sumner had a narrow escape early and struggled to find speed. But Emma Gilmore was finding new pace and stormed through the day in second to close the gap to Sumner to just 8 points. But we're only just past the halfway point of the championship. Can anyone else make a late run? On the rally roads of Whangarei, day 2 of round 3 of the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship. And what a change overnight from the sunny conditions of day 1. Wet weather, gale force winds, but that's just another challenge for Hayden Patton.
Obviously, being first on the road, it's going to help take away the disadvantage we have of clearing the gravel. But in saying that, stage 1, the first stage we did this morning, there's still a lot of gravel on it, and rain or no rain, you know, we're going to be doing a bit of clearing. But other than that, the other 3 stages are perfectly fine, and they're going to suit us well being first on the road.
You're going for a softer compound tyre?
Yeah, definitely. And if this weather keeps up, we'll be on soft tyres all day. So. I think it will work much better than what it did yesterday morning, because obviously we've got a lot more dampness in the ground. So, you know, and we'll go for a good cut as well to help clear the mud and the water.
If Emma Gilmore can repeat her day 1 form, she could leave here as the championship leader.
I think it's still going to be pretty slippery. We're going with quite an aggressive cut on our tyres and going for a softer compound. So, fingers crossed we've made the right call and it'll work out there.
Chris West knows that today will be do or die for his championship chances. He's sometimes struggled in the wet with tyre choice, so the team have decided to experiment, hopefully with a change of luck.
I think there's been some guys up pretty early this morning running around cutting tyres and seeing what options were available. So it's going to be a critical day with tyres, that's for sure.
Running in about 6 or 7 on the road, but still it mightn't be too bad.
I think road position, like certainly as much as it's raining, I think the conditions and the road is a lot better than what we probably experienced on some of the stages yesterday. So probably a wee bit more consistency with the road conditions, but we all got to contend with the weather.
Dean, looks like the rain coming down here, and it's probably a big disadvantage to you today.
Yeah, it'll be unfortunately, it'll be huge. We'll be getting a lot of mud, we're 9th on the road, but we're just going to have to deal with it and do the best we can. Hopefully we've got the car fixed, so it should be handling a bit better today.
Probably going for a softer compound tyre?
Yeah, we got all mediums and we just put quite a heavy duty cut in them, so it should be alright.
So with the weather looking ominous, let's check out the stages with our Vantage Aluminium Joinery Stage Preview.
Special Stage 9 Batley, at 20 kilometres long, is a bit of a technical stage to start on. It starts off quite fast and flowing, but there's sort of the odd corner that just sort of comes up on you really quick. Really important that the co-driver wakes up and has had their Weet-Bix to make sure they're on the case when calling the pace notes. Special Stage 10 Whangarei is another Rally of Whangarei stage, although the last part is going to be a bit of a treat for us New Zealand competitors, as the last 2 kilometres is exactly the same as the end of a Brooks stage that we did in Rally New Zealand only 6 weeks ago. Special Stage 11 Millbrook is a really nice stage. This stage is quite unique in that it's largely downhill and it's quite fast and flowing to start before making it a little bit tighter and technical near the end. This stage is going to be a little bit more even for us Group N cars against the open class cars. Special Stage 12 Waipu Caves is a bit of a technical stage to do before we head back to service. This stage starts sort of fast and flowing before we head out onto some tarmac section, which is just flat out for a couple of kilometres. We then turn off this into a more technical section that has some very high-speed, narrow crests before the finish. After service, we head back out to a repeat of the morning stages. Batley is the first stage we repeat, and generally all the stages hold up pretty well, and Batley, I think, will also hold up quite well. Depends on the weather and what we have. A lot of rain will generally make the stages just that little bit slipperier. After service, we head back out to a repeat of the morning stages. Batley and Whangarei should be well cleared by now, although it's very difficult to make the right tyre call sometimes in Whangarei, as we're servicing a long way away from where the stages are. Final 2 stages of the rally, Millbrook and Waipu Caves, are some fantastic stages to finish on. Millbrook, again, nice and fast, be well swept now, and then Waipu Caves, again, a really technical stage, great way to finish Rally of Whangarei.
And a new running order on day 2, so Hayden Patton now first on the road. So Roger, he's one driver who'll be absolutely wrapped with the wet stuff.
He certainly will, because the advantage that Hayden's got here, being one on the road will not cut up as bad. But you can see there those clay spots there. As the other competitors go over the road, this road will cut up quite bad and the times will be a lot slower.
So how will the wet weather affect the times? Remember, Patton is the record holder on the stage going back to 2009. 11 minutes 32.7.
Well, I don't think there'll be any records today, Clint, as Hayden's coming down to the finish.
Looks like it will be slower. 11:50.8. Emma Gilmore second on day one, so second Kiwi on the stage.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Well, even though Emma's second Kiwi on the stage, she's number 3 on the road because the drivers are mixed up with the Asia Pacific drivers as well. But this will be an advantage for her today. Like Hayden Patton, the roads won't be too badly cut up. As you can see there, you can see a little line already, but the road seems to be in good condition at the moment.
So can Emma take the lead in the championship here today? She doesn't need to worry too much about Patton. Just keep Westy and Sumner behind her.
Well, she's going to be slower than Hayden. 12:06. Wow, that's 15 seconds down on Hayden already.
Patrick Malley and Chris West tied for third on day one, but it's Malley who starts first ahead of Westy.
Well, Patrick Malley's the first driver that's not on soft compound tyres. He's on mediums. But what they've done is they've put a very aggressive cut in the tyre, and basically that makes the tread a lot wider and it gets it down on the surface of the road and makes it work a lot better.
So has it worked for Malley? We'll check out his time. 12 minutes 04.3, so second fastest so far.
Yeah, that felt pretty good.
So can a change of tyres turn around Chris West's fortunes at this stage in the championship?
2, 1, go.
Chris West has gone for a very soft compound tyre, but the problem is he's only got 4 tyres to last the whole 8 stages today. Will that be a risk? Well, time will tell. But early on, he should be very fast.
Chris West started the season looking like he could go on to win, but it was bad luck which robbed him on the first round. He was consistent at Rally New Zealand, but lacked Patton's outright speed. Now, is this the day that's going to be his make-or-break day in the championship?
Well, he's getting pretty close to the finish, Clint, and looks like his speed is very fast through this stage as he comes down towards the finish line.
It's the flat right on finish into 6 left plus.
Wow, great time, 11:56.2. That's just 6 seconds slower than Hayden Patton.
Second fastest so far. Glenn Inkster, 5th on the road after finishing 5th on day one. He was looking to improve his championship standing as well.
Well, Glenn running a little bit further down the order, but the road condition on this Batley stage doesn't look too bad at this stage, so maybe running a little bit further down isn't a major disadvantage.
7 left tightens, 6 left minus opens. Flat 8 right over finish.
So coming down to the line, his time's going to be 12 minutes 05.3, slots him between Malley and Gilmore. He may be the championship leader, but Dean Sumner starting 6th Kiwi today. He's 9th on the road, and it's all about staying in touch, preferably ahead of Emma Gilmore.
Well, a big day for Dean today. He's gone for a very aggressive cut on these tyres. Running 9 on the road, will that be a big disadvantage for him? We'll wait and see.
He lost 11 points on day one. If that happens today, he'll drop to second.
Well, his time, 12:06.2. That's only 0.2 behind Emma.
Glenn Smith next through and just back a little, 12 minutes 10.8. Kingsley Thompson also slightly off the pace, 12 minutes 09.8, but still a good start for the day. Looks like the road is holding out in the rainy conditions at this stage. Once again, Jeff Argyle had to run at the end of the championship field because of his open class car not in Group N, but he was 4th fastest, and that does count. Despite having to run down in 8th place after a terrible day one, Richard Mason is back on track here.
Well, Richard Mason certainly wouldn't be used to running a fair way down the order like he is at the moment. But like we said earlier, this road is not really cutting up that badly, so maybe for him as well it won't be a disadvantage.
7 right, finish.
And Mason's time, 12 minutes 02.1, 3rd fastest. So Hayden Patton does it again, but it's Chris West who leads the chasing pack this time. Is this the start of the Richard Mason comeback in 3rd?
Glenn Inkster holding a slim lead over Emma Gilmore in 6th and 7th, but Dean Sumner just 0.2 of a second behind.
Stage 10, familiar territory. It's the old Rally New Zealand territory too. As Hayden Paddon storms through the stage, the road conditions look ideal, Roger, even if it's wet at the moment.
Well, they certainly look ideal for Hayden as he slightly goes offline there, but with these soft tyres, he's going to be pretty fast today.
Approaching the railway bridge, of course, the famous Hella Bridge. After long-time sponsors, Hella, nice jump.
He's sliding the car nicely through these stages as he comes down to the finish.
Marcus Legato's got the record back in 2004, 11.06.6. Paddon sets a new record, 10 minutes 57.3. Well, not a great start for Emma Gilmore considering her pace on day one, so can she do better here on stage 10?
Well, Emma a little bit slow out of the blocks this morning, but as she comes over the Hella Bridge and she gets plenty of air, Emma doesn't really have to worry too much about Hayden this morning. She has to keep ahead of Dean Sumner. Coming down to the finish, what can she do?
It's going to be slower than Paddon, 11.19.2. Well, are we going to see another runaway day by Hayden Paddon, or can someone like this man, Patrick Malley, challenge him for the lead?
Well, I suspect Hayden's going to run away again today, probably advantaged by his tyres, but Patrick Malley, he's sort of driving pretty hard. He's running these medium tyres, but with a big cut. And you can already see it's a disadvantage because Patrick's all over the road. Big understeer coming in, big oversteer coming out of the corner. I don't think this is going to be a very fast time, Clint.
4 right minus in junction 60.
Over the famous Hella Bridge, on his way down to the finish, and you're right, Roger, it doesn't look fast.
6 left minus to stop.
11.28.6. So are we starting to see that deterioration in the road, which could start to slow down the rest of the field? Could make it very challenging for drivers like Chris West as well.
Well, the other problem Chris may have is he's running these soft compound tyres, which he's never used before. So hopefully the team have got the suspension settings perfect on this car. If they haven't, he'll lose a bit of time.
He certainly needs a bit of a confidence booster, this Chris West. He'll want to continue his pace from the previous stage. 11 minutes 20, so just a second under Gilmore, but he will keep second place. Glenn Inkster only 6th fastest on the opening stage, so he'll be looking to improve here as well. Remember, this is a familiar road to all these drivers, so their pace notes should be spot on.
Yes, and the other thing is the delivery of the pace notes through these stages as well.
Over finish, 150.
Well, he was close to Patrick Malley on the first stage, down to the line, 11.29.2. Very close again, 6th fastest. He's not happy. Less than 10 seconds separating 3rd to 10th on the opening stage. Can Dean Sumner make a move like Emma Gilmore did?
Well, he really has to, because he can't afford to have more than 2 places between himself and Emma. Sure, there's 2 rallies still to go in the championship, but the points leader has a psychological advantage.
And it looks like Dean is psyched up, 11.26.6 this time. Talking about being over-psyched sometimes around Whangarei, can Richard Mason continue his improvement on the stage?
Well, maybe not, because this looks a little bit slower as he's coming down to the finish. 11.29.7, that'll drop him 4th behind Emma Gilmore.
But not such a good stage 2 for Jeff Argyle, dropping 4 stages here down to 8th. Glenn Smith now just 0.7 seconds behind Argyle in 9th place. 10th for Kingsley Thompson.
6 left.
Well, as he comes over the Hella Bridge, he's gone a little bit wide there as well.
Outside the top 10, there was still tight competition. Matt Jansen was leading this group in 11th. It's coming under pressure, though, from 3 young drivers. Ben Jagger, the first of those, he was back after his day 1 crash and showing no ill effects. On stage 9, he was 13th fastest, but on this stage, he managed to edge ahead of Sloane Cox to move up to 12th. Day 1 saw Sloane Cox struggle a bit.
Yeah, Sloane put that down to a lack of power in the motor.
Kieran Hall also in this battle, just 4 seconds behind after stage 10. The open class battle had consistently seen Marcus Van Klink outpaced by teenager Alex Kelsey. Not today though. Van Klink 15th, leading Kelsey. He was another 11 seconds back. Maybe the conditions keeping him honest, but we'll have to keep a watch out. Dave Strong had retired on day one with power steering failure, but he was back going again and just 10 seconds away from the youngster, continuing the battle that they started on day one.
Well, this is a non-turbo, normal aspirated car, so Dave's not running on the jungle juice fuel. But this team is starting to get this car sorted. In fact, I think Dave's starting to enjoy himself in his car. I know Bruce McKenzie is.
And stick around, coming up after the break. There's a new leader in two-wheel drive, and the rain causes problems on the Whangarei roads. Welcome back to Rally Whangarei, round 3 of the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship. More rain on the way. It's a short 10.5 kilometre stage, but again, Hayden Paddon outclassed the opposition. Fastest through a time of 6 minutes 09.9.
Hayden, once again, you're sort of stretching that lead already. Road conditions, how have you found it?
I actually really enjoying it. The first one was a bit loose, there's a lot of gravel in there, but by the sounds of it, it doesn't sound like it's sweeping too much. But the one before this one was really enjoyable. We're aiming for stage records today, and to do that, we really got to do it in the first pass before it gets too muddy. And we're really pushed in that second one and felt really good, and tried to do the same in here, but it's a bit more loose gravel in here, and probably tended to overdrive it, so not quite so good in this one.
Emma Gilmore next through the stage and obviously pushing hard.
Well, she certainly is, and maybe these soft Pirelli tyres are really starting to work and give her a great deal of confidence. And her next target's going to be Chris West, who's currently in second place.
Well, she was 8.6 seconds slower than Paddon, but would that be enough to put the pressure on Westy?
Well, Chris has already got a fair bit of pressure on himself, and basically these tyres are really starting to work for him nicely this morning, but he's only got 4 tyres for the day, so he's got to be careful and make sure they last the whole day.
Flat left 60, 5 left over 50.
Right, Westy down to the line. His time's going to be hopefully good enough to maintain second place from his point of view. 6 minutes 20.7, still second place.
The car feels really good, that's the best it felt in the first stage, and like I said, we just probably just let it down a little bit too low, and it's tyre pressure is quite important, so these conditions, just struggling to get it back up to where it probably should be, within the stage.
Dean Sumner was unlucky to strike rain through the entire stage, but it didn't slow him too much. 4th fastest, just a second down on West. But Richard Mason was struggling again on the stages, losing about a second a kilometre through here. And that dropped him to 6th, but actually promoted Sumner up to 4th, just behind Emma Gilmore.
Richard, good time early on, but just this stage dropped back a fraction.
Yeah, just maybe the other guys were and girls were a bit slower the blocks in the morning, and the car's feeling a lot better today, but a bit of work to be done still.
Running a little bit down, but maybe the road's not as bad as you may have thought?
The road's not that fantastic back here. It's pretty chopped up, but it's all right. We'll be right.
Jeff Argyle's woes continued as he slowed and dropped down to 10th place, now within the clutches of the other open class cars. But a collision with the bank on the stage dropped Marcus Van Klink down 3 places, so Argyle was now safe. Well, for now anyway. But the day was seeing a fantastic battle for the two-wheel drive class as well. The start of the day, Regan Ross was again the fastest in his exotic Escort, the PDA, but he lost over 20 minutes through the morning with an electrical fault and would finish the morning in last place. So it was the Fiesta Group N cars to the front of the battle, and today Ben Hunt had the lead for the first 3 stages.
4 left plus to 2 right.
Stephen Barker and his team had repaired their car after the crash on day 1 and were back on the pace. In fact, by the morning service, Barker reclaimed the lead in the class.
5 right and 5 left plus 30.
Matt Summerfield had his Kiwi 2 Skoda another 30 seconds back and was leading his old rival Reg Cook. Phil Campbell started the season in the Kiwi 2 Mitsubishi, but changed to a Fiesta at Rally New Zealand. He had his Fiesta 3rd in the Group N3 class and 4th place in two-wheel drive. And 4th place in that class going to Dermot Melly. Maybe his last rally, but Reg Cook still having fun on the Nissan Micra, although he lost 1 minute 15 to the Skoda of Summerfield. And with Regan Ross sidelined, Ron Davey had taken over the historic class lead. His pushrod engine Escort didn't have the grunt of Ross's PDA, but the veteran from Havelock North was holding off a spirited challenge from the Corolla of Miles McElwain.
Well, this is what this historic challenge trophy is all about. This model was debuted way back in 1985 in the New Zealand Rally Championship by Paul Adams and Jim Scott.
And that's why this little Toyota Starlet can compete in the championship as well. This is the Waipu Caves, and the final stage before the lunch break would run right past the entrance. But maybe a spirit from the underworld was disturbed by the rally because this stage was going to turn into a graveyard by the end. Talk about the tanny farm. Yes, the rain was heavy now, but Hayden Paddon could do no wrong and claimed another stage win to take a lead of 1:10, which is fantastic by the champ. But it was Emma Gilmore who would finish the morning in second.
Well, Emma's starting to stamp her authority on this event. Second in day one, and now she's got into second place on day two at this stage, ahead of Chris West.
Yes, Westy wasn't able to carry his early speed from the morning, dropped to third, but still a great performance, keeping him in the hunt of the championship. Patrick Malley took to the conditions like a duck to water, producing another top three time, just a second down on Gilmore.
Yes, and he's really sliding that car around. In fact, Patrick Malley has got very, very good car control.
6 left plus
and he's doing very well this morning, Clint.
Dean Sutton dropped 14 seconds on Emma Gilmore here. That meant that he was now down to fifth place, so the points gap between them, 9 points. If it stays this way, Emma will lead the championship by the end of the day.
Half short, 7 left plus, over small crest.
Glenn Inkster had been in sixth. Probably would have closed in on Sumner on this stage, but a small pace note error would cost him dearly, and he would score no points today.
And off the road he goes.
Over the bank and...
Didn't quite go over back on the road, but I think there's damage done.
Oh, you can hear it rattling. And Inky wasn't alone. Glenn Smith retired here as well with suspension failure. Kieran Hall hit a bank and was forced to retire. And Jeff Argyle's car finally tried enough. Reliability again, the Achilles heel of the Open class. And Marcus Van Klink limped through the stage, handing the Open class lead to Alex Kelsey. So it's Hayden Paddon clearing out in front, Emma Gilmore holding on to second. Great battle now with Chris West in third, ahead of Patrick Malley and Sumner back in fifth.
Richard Mason's dropped down to sixth place, but look at Ben Jagger and Matt Jansen in a big battle, only 1.1 second between them.
Alex Kelsey now leading the Open class, and it's Barker in front of Ben Hunt in the Fiestas.
And Ron Davey down in 17th place, but leading the historic challenge.
But it's Hayden Paddon who's leaving everyone in his mud.
Yeah, it's going really good. Actually haven't really looked at any stage times until now, so we've just been driving our own rally really, and we had a good overnight lead. So today the focus has been on stage records. So it's been going all right. I think we've got a couple. We missed out on a couple, but all in all, feeling really good.
Another good performance from Emma Gilmore, which has put her in contention to lead the championship.
So it wasn't such a good start, but we sort of went out ahead thinking that it was going to be wet down at the stages, and it wasn't really. Like the stages were damp, but it wasn't still raining, and we had an aggressive cut in our tyre, and they just seemed to go off a bit. So we definitely struggled in the first couple of stages, and then sort of came right, and then the last stage the rain arrived, and we clawed our way back. So morning.
So a challenge now for Dean Sumner to close the gap on Gilmore.
We're slippery out there now, like we've had an awful lot of rain, so anything can happen, We'll just keep on trying. I think I've been over-driving, I think I've been trying too hard and dropping time, yeah.
Changing tyres had changed Chris West's fortune, and the team have managed to get some second-hand tyres for the afternoon.
And changing the compound on the tyre has made a significant difference, and the time is reflecting on that, but... it's good. It's just unfortunate that we didn't get on the bandwagon yesterday.
Bit of scarring in the back of Patrick Malley's car, so he's been pushing hard.
14.5 behind Chris West, so really with these tyres you can't do anything.
Bugger that, we're going to go hard. We're always going to try and catch Chris. We're going to try and catch Emma. We'll do the best we can do no matter what. I mean, the first run through, obviously we had a bit of damage. We punctured a tyre because it was rubbing onto it, so hopefully we won't do anything this time and we can really make a run of it.
Over in the two-wheel drive service, Reg Cook was preparing for the final stages of his rally career.
I started rallying in 1972 in an escort with Steve Horn, and it's 38 years ago, and this is the last rally I'm going to do. I've got a lot of other things to do.
What made you make the decision that today's it?
I've been to a lot of funerals, and I started looking at all the things I wanted to tick off the boxes, and time's getting by, and I really need to get on with them, so there's just not time to do everything. We've got 21 events to do next year without doing the rally championship, so we just need to get on and do them.
And you've enjoyed your rallying? I mean, you had a big break there and you come back?
Yeah, we had a 20-year break, but yes, I have enjoyed it. It's a challenge. And I mean, anybody who comes out in these conditions, I wouldn't call it fun. I see it's a challenge, and if you beat the challenge, you really feel good about it.
Good on you, Reg, and good luck. And coming up after the break, can Paddon break any more records? Welcome back to Rally Whangarei. Round 3 at the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship, where the rain continues to fall. Hayden Paddon set for another stage. Looks relaxed and intense at the same time.
Well, I've got the rally leader Hayden Paddon on the left and the championship leader Dean Sumner on the right. And both drivers here are concentrating very hard, but totally different styles. Look at Hayden Paddon, very relaxed, very focused. Dean Sumner, he's working this car very hard. A lot of steering movement coming from Dean Sumner as opposed to Hayden Paddon.
Hayden Paddon still the man to beat. His time 11:46.2. Dean Sumner 12 minutes 04.1. So both improving. Emma Gilmore and Chris West were involved in the closest battle in the top 10.
Well, Emma will be glad that it's Chris West behind and not Dean Sumner, because very important to keep Dean as far away as possible from the championship point of view.
Emma looking very focused as well behind the wheel, and plenty of motivation for Chris West today. He just has to score a top 3 finish to stay in contention for the championship.
And that top 3 finish is very important for Chris West after his first round DNF.
Into 5 left minus.
So Westie's in catch-up mode. He needs to be under 11:54 to move back into second.
Into 6 left plus.
12 minutes 0.6, just outside, stays third. Patrick Malley still holding on to 4th place now, 7.5 seconds ahead of Dean Sumner. Richard Mason now into 6th after being as high as 3rd during the morning. The stage is turning into a bit of a test session for him this afternoon.
Yes, Richard will be determined to finish the rally and hopefully leave Whangarei with the valuable feedback about this car. Remember, he has only finished 1 rally this season, so there's plenty of potential in this car.
This is Kingsley Thompson now in 7th after the retirement of Smith and Inkster.
Yes, and just look at the conditions, how slippery this road is. This is a real test on these drivers.
Using all his local knowledge too from Northland. Talking about another local. Just 13 seconds back, Ben Jagger had recovered from his day 1 crash, now moving up to 8th place. Matt Jansen was up into 9th, just 16 seconds back from Jagger.
Well, Matt Jansen and Ben Jagger very similar because they've got their family right behind their rallying. Both their fathers are right into this.
A bit like Sloane Cox as well, and finally a better result for him too into the top 10.
Yeah, Sloane's family right behind him as well. In fact, his sister co-drives for him. And Sloane gone a little bit wide there as well. Sloane's father, Steve, he's the driving force behind this team.
50. Long, 6 left opens, 20.
And while Taryn Cox is calling the notes for her brother, the loyal fans have stuck around at the Helen Bridge to cheer the cars home. Hayden Paddon probably won't break any records this time around. The road may be swept, but the weather will be causing all sorts of dramas.
Yes, it's not just the slippery conditions, it's the problem it's been able to see out of the car as well. Treacherous conditions today for the drivers.
Still going fast enough though to get some good air over the bridge.
Well, even though Hayden's got this big lead, Clint, he's certainly not slowing down.
And what's his time going to be? It's 11:08.5. Emma Gilmore won't beat Paddon today, so for her it's important that she just makes no mistakes, concentrates on keeping as many cars between her and Dean Sumner. That's what she's been doing all day and doing a good job.
Yes, and very important that she made the right decision. She went for soft tyres this morning. Maybe that aggressive cut would have hurt her a little bit, but she's been so consistent in this rally. Second on day one, and looks like she could be second on day two.
Over the bridge, down to the finish line. What's Emma's time going to be?
100.
Slower than Padden, 11.25. I wonder if there's a problem. Just 4 seconds separating West and Gilmore at the start of the stage, so can Westy get back to second place here?
Well, he knows he's got a chance as he attacks the Hella Bridge here. Can he get up and beat Emma through the stage or even get close to her? Coming down to the finish now.
11.29 flat. Emma keeps second place. This is another battle too, which will have an effect on the points. Patrick Malley versus Dean Sumner. Here's Malley behind the wheel.
Yes, Dean needs to get ahead of Patrick to extend his points advantage over Emma Gilmore. He can't afford to lose points again, but Patrick has the upper hand at the moment.
So who's going to be able to handle the pressure? Down to the line for Malley.
6 left minus to stop.
11.36.8.
Ah, shit, I think that's slower than last time, but it is wetter.
Well, he could lose a place here. Dean Sumner's championship lead on the line as well on the stage. Can he claw back some points? Take the advantage over Gilmore.
Yes, but let's not forget that as well as trying to get a position, Dean's dealing with some pretty extreme weather conditions here. I'm sure the last thing he wants to do is overdrive and make a mistake.
That's what's so great about the Vantage Aluminium Jordan New Zealand Rally Championship. It's the battles that happen right throughout the field and every day. And a good time by Sumner, 11.28.3, moves them up to fourth ahead of Malley. Well, everyone was having an easy time in these conditions, though. It wasn't just the rain on his windscreen that Kingsley Thompson had to worry about.
5 left, minus.
Well, he's just hit a big puddle there and it's dragged him off the road.
Just avoiding that gate.
Well, very lucky, but I think he's hit the culvert, so maybe a bit of damage in this car.
So Hayden Patton just romping away with a 1 minute 38.2 lead. Chris West just 8 seconds off Gilmore's tail, and Sumner now up to fourth.
Richard Mason in sixth place, and a close battle between Jansen and Cox, just 2.3 seconds.
Alex Kelsey was ahead in the open class, but he was in a real battle for position with Dave Strong and trying to stay on the road. Strong had made gains in the morning, was just 4.6 seconds back in 12th.
Positive signs for the Auckland driver. He was so close to the top 10. It looks like Dave's finally starting to get a handle on this car. And let's not forget that this is a tricky S2000 car, the first four-wheel drive car that Dave has ever campaigned.
Stephen Barker, on the other hand, has gone from four-wheel drive back to two-wheel drive in the New Zealand Rally Rising Star Scholarship Fiesta.
And doing very well too, leading the class by 2 minutes now after Ben Hunt struggled after lunch.
Right into long 5 left minus.
Matt Summerfield led the Kiwi 2 battle on his Skoda.
The torque of the diesel's probably working very well in these road conditions.
And Ron Davey continues to lead the historic challenge over Miles McElwain. Coming up after the break, it's the race to the finish. Is there a sting in the tail on the road to Whangarei? Welcome back to the wet and windy finish of the third round of the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship. Just 2 stages to go. Hayden Patton making no mistakes, yet still winning every single stage.
Well, it's great that Hayden has the opportunity to rally in Europe this year. And of course that clashes with the New Zealand Rally Championship, so he misses the next 2 rounds.
Probably a bit of relief for the other drivers, though.
Well, the way he's driving at the moment, Clint, he's basically unbeatable.
Impressive, mate. He's been outstanding.
And look how relaxed he is in that car, and the speed he's got.
Good to take that speed over to Europe as well. Emma Gilmore kept her second position on the stage, although again she was about a second a K slower than Patton. Chris West was 17 seconds slower than Patton through the stage, but looked comfortable in third overall. Looks like valuable points haul for him today. That'll keep him in touch with the championship leaders.
4 left, 5 right minus narrows, into 4 left, 50.
Still a close battle though between Patrick Malley in 5th and Dean Sumner in 4th. Malley just a couple of seconds away at the start of the stage.
6 left plus.
Well, Patrick Malley's borderline overdriving this car. Maybe if he just straightened up a little bit, he might find he'll be a little bit quicker as he comes. Oh, and what a big slide coming through to the finish here.
6 minutes 22.6, that's second fastest so far though. So Mally on a charge here. Can Sumner retain fourth place? Keep those extra 2 points that he needs in the championship.
Well, Dean's going to have to push pretty hard as well. Wet conditions here, and you can see he is pushing hard as he comes to the finish, Clint.
6:21.3 holds on to fourth. The stage was to be the final for Reg Cook. The little Micra stopping in the stage and Reg seeing his hopes of a finish ramp celebration on his final rally go up in smoke. But that's motor racing, as they say. So just one stage to run through the Waipu Caves on this wet day. In the historic challenge, Ron Davey finished 16th overall and top finisher in the class. Just one place behind the Toyota of Miles McElwain would take second in the historics. And 20th place and third in class, the little starlet of Adam Fisher. Matt Summerfield took Kiwi 2 honours and was the only finisher in the class again. Stephen Barker, credible, 12th overall and winner of the Group N3 class for the Ford Fiestas.
Yeah, Stephen Barker's certainly impressed a lot of people the way he's driving this two-wheel drive car. Remember, he's had a lot of four-wheel drive experience, but he's gone back to the two-wheel drive. Maybe when he gets back into a four-wheel drive car, he'll be even quicker.
Ben Hunter challenged Barker early on, but faded back to second in class by over 2.5 minutes in the end. Another 2 minutes back to Phil Campbell. Phil hasn't yet found the pace of Hunt and Barker in his Fiesta. And while he's not on their pace, Dermot Malley continues to score points, so 100% finish again for the Fiestas. And the open class winner went to Alex Kelsey, 11th overall, so a strong finish in the end. But Marcus van Klink had limped home, and that was enough to put him in the open class points lead. And they'll be happy in the strong camp after this strong top 10 finish. The car and the driver surviving tough conditions.
Maybe this is a turning point for this team because they probably need a little bit of luck. And Dave's actually driving this car quite well.
Sloane Cox never found the pace that he had on these roads at Rally New Zealand early in the year, but 9th place was some consolation, and with Ben Jagger not finishing day one, Cox was now a clear leader in the Junior Championship.
5 and 5 right, don't go wide, 80.
Matt Jansen had done well to hold off Cox through the afternoon and was rewarded with 8th place.
That's probably his best result this year. And isn't it great to see these young drivers in such a big battle all day?
Ben Jagger was left wondering what might have been after his DNF on day one. His pace had kept him in the top 10 all day. Coming home in 7th. But it was Kingsley Thompson who would claim the top local drive with 6th place. First of the Evo 10s, the championship still dominated by the Evo 9 Mitzies, of course. But unbelievably, Chris West would again fall out on the last stage with a puncture.
Into 3 left.
Well, he just mentioned it. You can tell by the way the car's behaving. She's got a big puncture. Unfortunately, Chris had a puncture coming to this stage, so he's got no spare, so he's going to be forced to retire. Just such bad luck for this team, Clint. When's it going to stop?
Exactly, and that'll be going through the head of Chris West at the moment. Man, how much bad luck do I need in one championship? Been trying to nurse all those tyres all day, almost to the finish, and look at that. Might as well chuck it away. Well, from a very ordinary weekend, Richard Mason was gifted 5th place, and I guess very happy to finally finish up here in the old Winterless North. Well, not Winterless today, but Rally Whangarei. Been a bogey one for him, but not today. Malley would settle for 4th. He was 5 seconds slower than Sumner again on the stage, just not quite the pace at the end of the day. Possibly struggling with the road conditions. A podium 3rd for Dean Sumner. That put him 3rd overall of the rally and just enough points to retain the championship lead. Talk about relief in the rain. But a psychological victory for Emma Gilmore. Despite having a new co-driver and a smaller team than normal, she will go into the next round knowing that she was the dominant driver of the other competitors in the competition in the New Zealand Championship.
Yes, Emma's on a good roll here at the moment, and it's certainly looking good for her for the championship this weekend. Second on both days. Very good performance, polished performance by Emma.
But of course, no one can take away the victory from this man. Hayden Paddon won 14 of the 16 stages, with only the 2 super stages on day one going to other drivers. He took victory in the APRC, and overall, quite a performance, lifted him to 3rd overall in the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship.
Well done. Very good event. Thank you. Now we're just going to do the same in Finland.
And put a smile on his dial heading overseas.
Hayden, well done. Another rally win to you. Another day of the Rally Championship, a win as well.
Spot on. It's been a perfect weekend, and it's been great. We've achieved all our own personal goals from the weekend, and it's the best I've ever felt in a car, and the confidence is high, and that's especially what we need for the second half of the World Championship now.
So Hayden Paddon wins Rally Whangarei, Gilmore second, Dean Sudner moving up to 3rd, taking advantage of Chris West's bad luck.
Kingsley Thompson, the local driver, home in 6th place ahead of Ben Jagger and Matt Jansen. Dave Strong, 10th overall.
Alex Kelsey wrapped up the open class. Another good performance by the Flying Fiesta of Stephen Barker.
And Ron Davey came home and won the Historics. Brian Green, 18th overall ahead of another old campaigner, Dermot Malley.
Couldn't ask for any more. We come up here with the whole aim of developing our own speed and driving and our pace notes, and we work well on those. There's obviously still some room for improvement, but moving in the right direction. But excellent weekend. Can't ask for any more. The team and the tyres and everything's just been perfect.
Once again, right from the word go this morning, these soft tyres really worked for you.
Yeah, they have. We just keep with the softs all day, actually, and they worked a lot better today than what they did on the first day. So, it's good. When the car's working well and the tyres are working well, it makes my job that much easier. And, a lot of our times are coming without too many risks as well, and that's just, testament to the amount of work the team put into giving me a car that's so nice to drive.
Had a good weekend and been happy. We probably every morning we've had the wrong tyres on and sort of it's cost us a bit, but the afternoons have been a lot better for us. We would have had a much better weekend if the green car wasn't here, but Hayden did a fantastic job and he drove really well, so very happy to be second to Hayden.
Yeah, it certainly showed this morning. You had some problems early on, but this afternoon you really sort of edged away from the others.
Yeah, we went with aggressive tyre cut this morning, thinking there was going to be rain out there, and the stages were really only just damp, so the tyres got a little bit too destroyed, and we sort of paid the price later on. But this afternoon, with the amount of rain that's there, the tyres worked a lot better, and we got through just on 4 tyres.
So in the championship, Dean Sudner heads to round 4 with a 2-point margin over Emma Gilmore. Paddon leapfrogs to 3rd now.
Kingsley Thompson in 6th place, but look at Richard Mason way down in 8th place with 90 points.
Sloane Cox leading a good battle in the junior standings over Ben Jagger, and then the 2-wheel drives, it's Barker, Summerfield and Hunt.
First place APRC car and winner again, Hayden Paddon and John Kennard.
There we go, folks, what an absolute dream run for Hayden and John.
Yes, great celebrations again for Hayden Paddon at Rally Whangarei, but it's Gilmore and Sudner who'll fight out the championship. Next round is Rally Nelson in August. We'll see you soon on the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship.